What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Castle Clash. My name is John, and I figured every month I would try to do something like a altar review. So essentially I show you my altar, tell you what talents I think are pretty good for all the heroes that are important in the current meta. And I figured if you had any questions, feel free to let me know. Also, it's a little video to help me keep track of how I've been doing throughout the month. So hopefully you guys can learn something as well. Just 1 second as I make sure all the audio is okay. Alright, so we're good. So let's take a look at our altar. This is for the month of May. I know we're kind of like midway through the month, but that's okay. I guess it doesn't really matter. So we're going to go over all the ones that I think are important, which is essentially is the first 15, and then we'll just go over a few more. So of course, the Minotaur, everyone's either favorite or most hated hero. This is pretty much just used for raids. I think the best talent and crest is probably War God or Revitalize, just because he gets a proc on. I really just use it for raids. Other than that, if you don't have it, it's not really a big deal. Don't worry about it too much. And yeah, so then the crest, if I were to switch it up, actually, I would put a War God if I could get it to 5 of 8, the talent, and put it on here for Revitalize, and then put like a 4 or 5 crest set for it. But Revitalize 5 out of 5 is actually kind of hard to get. And next is Spirit Mage. I didn't think I was actually going to use it much, but now that Insane Dungeon 5s have been released, I do have to re-roll some talents. But the best things to put on here, in my opinion, are probably War God and either Sprint or Revive. But War God is probably one of the highest rated ones, or Bulwark, just so his survivability is pretty high up there. Now the health itself is pretty low, but the damage is outstanding. So once again, those first two heroes are kind of pay to win heroes in a way, but they're not really necessary to beat anything. In fact, I mostly completed the Insane Dungeons without the Spirit Mage, and in fact I tried Spirit Mage for Insane 5s and it didn't really work out that well, so I might use Dread Drake instead. And next we have Ghulam. This is actually one of the higher rated heroes, I would say. I think it might be a little bit harder to roll, but I guess it's really all random. And if you don't, I'll try to describe how it's better than Druid in a way, because it heals faster. Now, the main talent you want on here is a 5 of 8 Bulwark, and then obviously if you can go higher than 5 of 8, then definitely do that. And for the crest set, I'm not really sure. Life Drain works well. Revitalize also is solid to have an early proc, but overall, pretty good. And the reason why people use Ghulam is just because it heals really fast, and it's like immune to stuns and fears. So it's not really good in much except for healings, dungeons, guild wars, and all that stuff. So raids, not so much. Arena, yeah, it's pretty good in arena. Guild wars is definitely good. Dungeons, and yeah, not yeah. Next, Valentina. Now this one is a somewhat new hero, like 3 patches ago, but it's a very good one to have for arena if you're trying to climb the ranks. But if you're like low tier, mid tier, it's not really as important, but definitely something if you do happen to have one. I would say if you want to climb arena, it's good, but that's really all it's used for. And yeah, probably guild wars as well, because if you're doing like high tier guild wars, everyone has maxed out heroes and talents. So this is something you want to have. In my opinion, talent you want to have is Revitalize or Sprint. I have Sprint on here, but if once I happen to get it to like 200, I'll probably replace this Enlighten with a Revitalize or 5 of 8 Sprint, whichever I get first, and then the other one will be the other. As for the stats on here, she kind of dies easily. The damage itself is not really something to worry about. You really use it for her buff, which is to silence Ares effect, and good. So Skull Knight, most people's best hero, also one of the most broken heroes in this game, but IGG probably won't nerf it at all. So as for talents and crests, you really can't go wrong with anything. Well, you could, but it's really hard to mess it up. So a lot of people I've seen, you can either put Deadly Strike. I just do this because I do a lot of arena, and if you can happen to hit a proc with like a artifact, and you could just like knock out 50% of the crystal's HP in one hit, depending on if you get lucky. So I see people use this, Life Drain, Scatter, Revitalize, Bulwark. Just in general, it's really hard to mess this character up, but it is possible. It's just really hard to do it. And as for the health, it's pretty solid. The best effect is mostly because it limits the damage and pretty much makes him a tank for a nice total of 10 seconds. And in 10 seconds in any like mode, that could win anything. So definitely Skull Knight is high priority. You want to look for it, and definitely something to look for. Next, number one hero that everyone wants is a Pumpkin Duke. Pumpkin Duke accelerates everything in the game. Every game mode, used in every game mode as well. So things you want to put for the talents are either Berserk or Revitalize. This is what I have on here right now. But I think Berserk is a little bit better simply because when you stack it with the scroll artifact, you just proc really fast, and just speeding up the game in general is always a good thing. And the damage is pretty solid, but he's kind of like a glass cannon, and that's what you should know about it. Now, a lot of people have been talking about whether Cupid or Valentina is better. Personally, they have their different effects. And Cupid, it gives your heroes energy and damage instantly, while Valentina is like a debuff and restores energy over time. So that's why they're kind of different. It's hard to compare them to say which one's better, but if you use them both, it's very good. So the number one talent you want on here is a 5 of 5 Revitalize and the crest. Most people just use a revive just because healing or just not dying while buffing is generally a good thing. So I've seen people use Bulwark and Revitalize, Revive. So those are all pretty good choices, but you're really just using it for the hero skill to buff and regen. So next on our list is a Santa Boom. Now, a lot of people just classify this character as an average hero. Now, the reason why it's good and people use it is because when his hero procs, he pretty much knocks out everything if your damage is high enough. However, the downside is the proc is random, and sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. His health is kind of average, but he does a lot of damage. So if I were to put anything on him, I'd put War God and Bulwark. It doesn't really matter which order, since they both have a out of 8 level. So whichever one works for you. But I guess if I really had to guess or pick one, I'd put War God on here, just because at 8 of 8 it'll be like a 90% damage, and that's pretty likely to kill anything if it hits directly. So yeah. Next is Ares. You're using it for the skill. Pretty much it silences enemies for a nice like 3 to 5 seconds. As for the damage and health, nothing really impressive. Mostly used in Arena, Guild Wars. So number one talent you want, you can ask anyone, is a 5 out of 5 Revitalize, so it procs instantly at the start. And if you're using this for Arena, you're going to want him to push the crystal as fast as possible. So just sprint is what I used. So we're getting closer to the last few heroes that I think are important, and then I'll go over some more that I really haven't been leveling. So we're on to Vlad right now. Vlad is good, but he destroys things a little too quickly. I never thought I'd say that, but if you're doing like dungeons and stuff, then he might kill things before your PD or Pumpkin Duke and other heroes get to proc. So if you make one mistake in the HBM, I think that's what it's called, then it's pretty much over, and that's not good. So he kills a little bit too quickly, but the best talents are Life Drain, War God, Bulwark. Life Drain is pretty good since he does AoE. I'm not sure if it affects the proc, but he attacks fast enough that Life Drain would be good. Next hero, Dreadrake. I pretty much use Dreadrake in everything. Now, this is another hero that's kind of hard to mess up, but I use it, or this character is primarily built for Arena, and Bulwark is to increase his health and attack. So his health is already high up there, and the 7 of 8 increases it by 40%. And Berserk, it just tells me proc first over the other people, which allows me to stun first. So that's always good. And that's kind of how you win arenas, by stunning the other team first. And unfortunately, it doesn't really come down to skill in high level arena. It's more like, did you get stunned first? If yes, you lose. If not, then you win. Next is Moltanica. It used to be good, not anymore. If I were to put a talent on here, I'd put Scatter, and then I just have some random crits. Don't worry about that one. But used to be good, not really anymore. Good for HBM and those hero trials. And another one that I'm working on right now is my Warlock. I'm trying to get it to like 180 to evolve it. Pretty much so I could just snipe things in Guild Wars. And you just toss it down if the enemies has troops. And the higher the skill and talent is, you could pretty much just one-shot heroes. Obviously, evolved and double evolved will do better. So I'm not really using it right now, but later on it'll be pretty solid, simply because it's good. But right now, the damage itself sucks. He's a glass cannon, and I'm pretty much using it for is a proc, and if it misses, then that's bad. So I think I covered all the good heroes now. There are a couple more. Druid is like the free-to-play Ghulam, but it's not bad. It increases your attack, and it's pretty good for dungeons, and overall it's generally good for everything. But once you get a Ghulam, you're probably just going to replace it. But I used to put a Berserk on here just so he doesn't have a cooldown on his skill, so that's why you could just stack as much as you want, and him attacking faster is generally a good thing. But now that I no longer use it, don't worry about the crest on it. Revitalize is also pretty good. Harpie Queen, I don't use it, but it's good in Arena, just because you want to stun your enemies, and as I was talking about before, if you stun your enemy team first, you pretty much win. As for everything else, Atlanticor is good for... Wait, hold on. What is this one? Yeah, the Arena. And usually you want to put Atlanticors in your hero totems. That's pretty good, but other than that, that's it. Pixie is good for Lost Realm, one of those bosses, like the dragon thingy. I would put a Scatter on here, maybe more health, Revitalize. That's it. Not use much. Candy Cane, good for Arena. You want a 5 out of 5 Revitalize, or it's not good. What else is there? Phantom King, you want this late game. You could buy this with shards, but honestly, if you're a low tier, just don't even worry about it. Destroyer is one of those pay-to-win heroes, not good at all. Succubus, I've seen a lot of other YouTubers use it for Arena, and sniping crystals at 9 out of 10 is like a 50% or 40%, and that's pretty good. So with that said, That's pretty much all the heroes of importance right now. I will try to be rolling for Beast Tamer and Lady Leo, but until then, I'll try to wait a little bit, simply because I assume every time a new hero comes out, the drop rate when you roll for it is significantly lower than, let's say, 2 weeks from now. So that's why if I were to like spend money on this game, then I would wait a little bit. But yeah, other than that, the only heroes that don't actually have are Arctica, because I don't think many people actually have it unless you get extremely lucky or spend thousands of dollars. But yeah, Beast Tamer is pretty solid from what I've heard. Lady Leo, I don't actually think I've seen anyone have it yet, but it is technically out if you want to see it. This is what it looks like, and this is the evolved version. They didn't really put much effort. They literally just put a mask and like gloves. But the Judgment skill, it pretty much deals extra damage and increases stun time. The damage and health itself is not that high base, but it does have a level 8 bulwark, so that kind of evens out for it. So I don't know why they did that. I would just increase the base attack and health, but whatever. It's up to them, I guess. We'll get it eventually. Beast Tamer. It summons another like bear thingy and just deals more damage, and this is what it looks like standard and evolved. So with that said, I hope you guys learned something. If you did, be sure to drop a like on the video. And yeah, hopefully until next time, let me know what you guys want to see for more Castle Clash gameplay. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.